They say that Jews have always known two things: suffering and where to get good food. For most of our history, we lived in countries that were oppressing us as Jews. Coupled with economic hardships, Jewish observance was very difficult. For the most part, we Jews have been overcoming those challenges. In spite of economic oppression and anti-Semitism, the laws that often prohibited Jews to follow their religion, we survived and persevered as Jews. The Torah tells us that the challenge of wealth is often greater than the challenge of poverty. We all know a friend who was a great guy until he became rich or famous, and then suddenly everything changed. As a nation, we notice the same pattern. In spite of poverty and persecution, Jews had an easier time remaining Jewish in Eastern Europe than in our modern free society, like America. Olden days, Jews had to deny themselves basic food during the week in order to have what to eat for Shabbos. Even the poorest people in America today don't have these problems. We live in a society of enormous wealth. A poor person in the Western world today is far better off than an average person a couple of centuries ago in Eastern Europe. So finding economic resources for Jewish observance should not be an issue at all. We live in the world that gives us a complete freedom to practice our religion. Yet, looking at the American Jews, we see that many have abandoned or lessened their Jewish observances upon arrival to the free world. The challenge of wealth and freedom is often greater than the challenge of poverty and oppression. Some Jews were given the challenge of poverty and oppression. Others were given the challenge of wealth and freedom. Interesting that we Jews from the former Soviet Union who are living in the West today were given both of these challenges. First, we lived in places that were hostile to the Jews and any expression of Jewishness. That was a big challenge. Many of us were trying to run away from their Jewish identity. Now, living in a free world, the same very people, Russian-speaking Jews, we have the challenge of wealth and freedom. I just returned from the weekend of National Russian Shabbaton, a 3-day program that has gathered over 1,200 Russian-speaking Jews from all over the USA. We had a large group from our community taking part in the event as well. All the participants came to learn, experience, and celebrate their Jewishness. For some of them, it was a first Jewish experience in their lives. Others were fully observant Jews. It was amazing to see how hundreds of Jews who were born in the former Soviet Union and their children were celebrating their Jewish heritage. Returning from the Shabbaton, I realized that we, Russian Jews, who were given both challenges, the challenge of poverty and the challenge of wealth, the challenge of oppression and the challenge of freedom, are successfully overcoming both of these challenges.